Be Inspired is the fastest growing UK edutainment event for businesses and entrepreneurs.
I'm yet to find an event like Be Inspired. Personality, spirituality, business, marketing, sales, people, love, it's got everything.
As soon as you walk in the room, you can just feel the energy and the vibe is just completely different.
Whether you are an introvert, an extrovert, an ambivert, there's just so much warmth and love and friendship and support.
We've wanted to come for the last couple of years, but didn't. Obviously, financial things, you always think, oh, I can't do that, but it's the best money we've ever spent. Thought I was going to be sat in a corner, not speaking to anybody. Everybody's so welcoming. To meet people in person that can benefit both businesses, it's mind-blowing.
We're creating safe spaces for conversations that matter in life and in business.
There's something about stepping into a busy environment that can often be really worrying for a lot of people. What happens every year at Be Inspired is we move things forward around inclusion, diversity and equality.
I'm neurodivergent myself, so having like Sense Story where I can go and be in a quiet space, where I can really kind of ground myself, be able to get the full experience of Be Inspired but to keep myself safe.
We bring you the very best in upcoming UK and global speaking talent, bringing you their businesses, their missions, their message to inspire, motivate and celebrate you as we all rise together.
It feels like a real sort of collaboration. Everybody's on your side. They want you to win. They want you to succeed.
Because of the belief that they have in you, it allows you to have the belief in yourself. The contacts, the connections, the friendships, the development of my business has all stemmed from that one experience.
Expect high energy, engaging talks that are going to leave you fired up and ready to take on the world.
Doors are opening and conversations are starting. I'm partly kicking myself that I haven't done it before.
We want you to come and learn and laugh and be inspired with us. And the naughty kids are welcome.
If you're thinking about coming to Be Inspired, definitely make that leap of faith, get your ticket. Everything in business that is important and impactful is really tough, and to have a team like this that's got your back is just gonna help you grow and grow and grow.
You can get your ticket right now to our next event by going to www.I'mTheQueenBee.co.uk. Hello, my angels. Look, we are back with the short Rise Up show. I hope you're feeling good this morning. I know I am. God, I've missed you. But look, we have a new look situation going on. We've been working in the background on the overall look and feel of the studio space. We've been building in the background what is going to be the show at Rise Up show in its new home in just a few weeks' time over on Patreon. So we've just been building and squirreling in the background for a few weeks now. But I've got loads to catch up with you on. I've got loads to share with you and loads to tell you. But first, I want to know how you are. How the hell are you? God, I've missed you. Who likes me bush? You see my new bush? I decided that I wanted to bring a little bit of nature into proceedings. Oh, I've gone all fuzzy. There we go. I wanted to bring a little bit of nature into proceedings to kind of accentuate all the things that we're going to be talking about going forward, talking about life and business and life. The two are inextricably linked. And one of the reasons why I've taken a few weeks off from the show is to take a little bit of stock of that for myself. But yeah, this is sort of a partial reveal of what this area is going to look like, of what the studio per se is going to look like for everything going forward. So let me talk you through it. Let me talk you around the new studio. So this is the Shite Weatherboard. This, I feel like, needs to remain a mainstay of the show at Rise Up show. One of the greatest connectors for us as people from Britain. Those of you that are from Britain that are watching along, is the weather. And we talk about the weather, and there's three different types of weather here in the UK. One is when it's sunny, it is scorchio. When it is summertime, we get about a 2-week window of sunshine here in the UK, and it is scorchio. And we have one of these that represents that. So I want to know if it's scorchio where you are. These are just being printed at the minute, and these will be back. So we'll be able to do this properly when we launch the show in its new home in the next few weeks. Also, it's raining. So often it's raining here in the UK. So I want to know from you if it's raining. And then the third And most what's the word? Common type of weather here in the UK is this one. It's a bit shit. It's like, what's the weather doing where you are? It's a bit shit, innit? I've missed the shit weather map. I've missed the shit weather map. Let's start as we mean to go on. What's the weather doing? I don't have all of the magnets. They've not all been delivered yet to properly adorn the shit weather map. If you are outside of the UK, we will represent you over here underneath the compass of the globe. But yeah, I want to know, what's the weather doing? It's Scorchio. Beth is watching over in Leeds. Good morning to Beth. Oh, incredible. Beth Thompson, hope you're feeling well and feeling fine. Mr. Shit Weather Map. It's grey today. It's a bit shit where Sarah Park is. Are you in the Cambridge area, you know? It's a bit shit in Lowestoft. Who's this in the Suffolk coast? I'm going to try and get back in touch with my geography. If anyone remembers when we used to do this on a regular basis, I used to get a little bit lost around this side of the coast, around this side a little bit. So yeah, it's overcast here in Hartlepool. So we've got a few it's a bit shits going on. It's absolutely scorcho here in Preston today, which is where I'm based. Although, as you know, I'm up and down the country like a bride's nightie. And that has really been the case in the past, certainly in the past 3 months. Again, one of the reasons why I decided to take a couple of weeks off the show and off of lives and off of kind of live updating on stories is I needed to give myself a little bit of bandwidth back. So I'm going to talk to you about that this morning. Because it's been absolutely necessary. There's loads of it's a bit shits going on. It might be a bit shit out there, darlings, but it's warm and lovely in our hearts. So this is my new bush. So we're ordering a neon sign to go up there, which I'm very excited about. This is a new feature. So we are tracking how our community is growing across platforms. So we know what's happening on Facebook. Facebook has been our home for the past 4 or 5 years. For the past 3, whilst we've been really, really building. But Instagram is where a lot of movement is happening right now. It's a lot of investment from us going into the Instagram space. And that's going to bleed out into the TikTok area as well. So we've been partnering with Clue Content Creation Agency for the past 4 months. So you'll have seen it's a bit gorgeous near Portsmouth. Oh, I'm jealous. Well, I'm not jealous because it's a bit gorgeous here in Preston. All the P's have got the good weather today. Sarah White, good morning. It's a bit shit here at the moment, but I think the sun is on the way. I've ordered it in for everyone. We might have a little grey and murky start, but it's all right. It's all right. I've ordered the sunshine for you all. It should all be on your way a little later on today. Let me know when it arrives. What was I saying then? I distracted myself. Okay, so here. So we are actively engaging with creating really high quality content over on Instagram, and that will bleed through onto TikTok as well as we grow our platform over there. Like sometimes when you're about to enter a huge amount of outward growth, you kind of have to pull back and retract a little bit and take stock. So the whole purpose really for me and the team for the last 6 to 8 weeks has been foundation laying, has been actually coming out of being this absolute warrior running forward and actually pulling back a little bit and going, okay, where are the foundations? Not that we've got shaky foundations, but where do the foundations need strengthening in order for us to comfortably go forward and comfortably grow? Like we have no signs of slowing in terms of what our plans are and our trajectory. I already said it out loud to you guys just a few weeks ago that we are aiming to, within the next 5 years, grow Be Inspired to a 10,000 delegate event, which is going to be no small feat in the next 5 years. So in order for us to do that, we need to make sure, like, how are we going to find these 10,000 people that are going to attend this event? How are we going to make this event so engaging and so useful and so valuable that 10,000 people are going to want to come to it? And we've got, given ourselves 5 years to do that. But in order to do that, we need a plan. So we set our sat nav, we set our destination. And then what we're doing is we are now creating our roadmap. So one of the parts of that roadmap is the Show Up Wise Up Rise Up show. I have made no bones about the fact that your girl wants to be on the telly, and increasing the production value, improving the format of the show, bringing some more structure, bringing some more real solid value. Instead of me just putting my makeup on in the morning and just sort of talking to you about what's popping in the business right now, for me right now, I want to bring I want to bring better production value to you. I want to bring a format that you can rely on. So there's been a loose format for the past 3 years that we've been running the show. On a Monday, we set our intentions together. On a Wednesday, we learn together as part of Wise at Wednesday. And then on a Friday, we'll celebrate our achievements. But actually, I want the structure of the show. If we're going to spend half an hour or 45 minutes together 3 times a week, I want that to be the best use of your time. If you were to watch something like, controversially, this morning, for example, have that on in the background while you're working, I would rather you have this in the background while you're working and have something that is really valuable. And us as a business and me as a person, what I'm thinking is that if we can create a format that works really well, either that's going to transfer beautifully to radio or indeed to some sort of TV situation. So really treating this space now like the broom cupboard for CBBC back in the day, really treating this like that space, but for grown-ups, but for people who want to do good things in the world, people who want to take up space, people who want to learn about the good things and not just the scary things. There's a lot of scaremongering out there. There's a lot of media diversion out there. There's a lot of dross and mess and just, I feel like it's diversion. Like we are being pointed away from the bigger things. We are being pointed away and being encouraged to be sheep. Actually, in this space, I want us to be taking our power back. I want us to be thinking, what can we do with the situations, with the cards that we've been dealt, whatever cards that we've been dealt? How do we take back responsibility and ownership and trajectory? How do we take back our destiny? How do we take back? So there's a lot of things that are happening to us at the minute. It feels quite scary. I know some of you have been in touch with me. How do I feel about this? With the AI conversation, for example, the political conversation, the economic conversation, all of these things. Good people helping good people could change the world. Exactly this. And instead of thinking, oh goodness, what's the Philip Schofield situation? What's the This Morning situation? How should that look? Actually, is that what we should be looking at right now? Is that what we should be spending our time discussing right now? Or is it, what do you want from your life and how do we make that happen? How do we provide ourselves the right and safe learning environments for all of us, regardless of where we come from, what gender we are, what background we are, what race we are? How do we take back that power and how do we become the platform for really incredible change together? How do we become the paradigm shift? How do we become the revolution? And it sounds like I have lofty plans. Well, I'll tell you something. I do. I am not here to fuck about, my angels. And when you are not here to fuck about, sometimes you get a little bit tired. And that's exactly what happened over the last few weeks, is that the requirement from me in the position that I'm in, which albeit is a very small, very concentrated position in the grand scheme of the wide world, the requirement of me by every single person in my life has been visceral. So by being needed by my family, being needed by my friends, being needed by my clients, being needed by all these things, but being needed by this pull that I have to change the way that things are done within the domestic abuse area, being, trying to learn what I can about wider business, about investments, about money, about growth, about sort of trying to tap into my own growth. I feel like what I've done is layered and layered and layered and layered and layered on so much that there's for want of a better analogy, and I say this sometimes to, really close friends of mine or to clients of mine who feel like they've got to be everything to everyone. And I've said to them, you're not Jesus. Like, it's not your job to be everything to everyone. And it's having that reminder, not that I ever thought I was, that's blasphemy, but not that I ever thought I was, but I thought that I was being torn by being needed by so many people that I didn't want to give anything to anybody. And the first thing that really suffered from that was my family and my friends. My clients have never, my direct delivery has been the thing that I've been focusing on. My immediate team has been the thing that I've been focused on. Anything outside of that has had to be sort of held a little bit. And doing lives like this and sharing like this and kind of breaking myself open a little bit like this and sharing where I'm at has been something that I got to a point a few weeks ago. I was like, I can't be arsed. And I never want to feel like that about this. Like, this is my love. Like, when I decided to do the show at Rise Up Show, I wanted it to be a platform for incredible conversations. I wanted it to be a platform where you could tune into something that was going to be valuable instead of, love Lorraine as I do. Lorraine, for example, where you're talking about the latest. Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
Wallace has just brought me a brew in my magnificent cock mug. It's actually his magnificent cock mug, but he knows how much I like a magnificent cock. I was talking to me. He just popped his head around like this. What the fuck?
It's Monday morning.
I know it's a Monday morning. We're going to go there. So,
He is good though.
So I'd got myself into a position where I wanted to do the show to provide a valuable space to all the things that I was saying. If we're talking about, if I think about the overarching purpose, and I've sat down with my team and we did this whole mission and values piece just a few weeks ago. And I was like, we know what we're about. We know what we do. I know what we do. I know why I'm here. I know why I keep turning up, but why? What is the statement that we're going to put out? If we are going to stare 7 figures in the face, and that's where we're heading to be a 7-figure business. Not that that means anything. There are overheads and all of this sort of stuff, right? The best companies that I've worked for, the best companies. So I'm like Carphone Warehouse when Carphone Warehouse was on the rise. Jaguar Land Rover when I worked for Jaguar Land Rover. These businesses had missions and values that actually that became culture, that became part of who they were. And I was like, we know kind of, and I'm just looking for the things I can share these things with you because I am now inextricably linked from these things. We did a mission and a values piece together. I was like, if you were to boil IATQB down, and for those of you that don't know, IATQB is the name of my business. So yes, I'm a public speaking coach. Yes, I'm a singer. Yes, I'm a host. Yes, I have the Flying Away Foundation and we help people who've experienced domestic abuse build businesses. The overarching, the name of the business is IATQB Limited. I am the Queen Bee. Nothing to do with me being the Queen Bee and everything to do with us taking back our birthright to success, regardless of gender, Queen Bee, King Bee, Royal Bee, Sovereign Bee, whoever you are, I'm not asked. But it's us taking back our birthright to a good life well lived, right? And if we have a mission and we have a purpose and a reason for being, a reason why I get out of bed, it is this, get this, it feels so good. We help people take up space to make positive change. It feels like a really simple statement. But actually, every decision that we make now, everything that we do now, every client that we bring in now, they're engaging with us because they can see this is our purpose, that we create space. So we help people take up space to make positive change. So that's our purpose. The reason I get out of bed in the morning, the reason why the show Rise Up show was here in the first place was for me to share with you the journey to getting yourself into a business that is doing things for you and you're not just doing things for it. So I would get out of bed in the morning, put my makeup on, tell everybody what I was getting ready for in the day, ask you guys what you're getting ready for in the day, what's the weather doing where you are, engaging with you. It's a water cooler situation where we get together and we have conversations. How are you doing today? Are you feeling all right? How can the community support you? How can you support the community? So on and so forth. If we're not all going into an office in the morning and we're working for ourselves, we're working remotely. Where do we have our water cooler conversations? Where do we have our breakout space? And this is a really lovely space to do it. Fun, engaging, informative, right? So we help people take up space to make positive change. So this then becomes the platform to have conversations that matter, right? So we've got Be Inspired, which is the big event where my graduates who've been training to really speak come to share their mission and their business and their learnings and their expertise with our incredible audience. We bring in our VIPs and our celebrities as well to come and have those conversations. But this is going to be the platform to have those conversations that matter, to really sit down and chew the fat over, okay, where are we right now? Where are you right now? Do you sit on a particularly controversial SPAC, a divisive SPAC? How do we have a conversation about that? How do we stop going around in silos going, I'm really right, and because I'm so right, you're wrong, I'm going to hit you on the head with this right stick that I've got? Because that is not how we create positive change together. How do we have these conversations in a safe way? How do we have these conversations in a safe way? And sometimes people are going to be wrong. Sometimes people are going to be right. Sometimes people are going to be agreeing to disagree. And for me, I'm excited about providing a space to have conversations that matter, that really matter. So conversations around inclusivity, conversations around economics, conversations around positive change. Are you with me for this, by the way? Are you following along? Are you feeling good? Does this feel right? Does this feel okay? I'm in that fuck it, I'm going to do it kind of space anyway. But yeah, so over here we've got our live ticker for Instagram. So if anyone goes over to Instagram right now, if you don't follow me already and you go and give me a follow at the Queen Bee Danny, you will see this change live. It's really cool. It's called Smil. I don't know. Anyway, I got it because I think it looks really sexy in terms of like the layout. But also, I want to see our community grow. And this is an incredible way to kind of live time engage with that. So if anybody is out there and is not following me on Instagram already, go to @theQueenBeeDanny on Instagram and let's see if we can make this like flip over whilst we're live together today. So our values, the values of IATQB. And when we do our first Patreon broadcast, when we do our first community broadcast in our IATQB membership, the Hive isn't going anywhere, by the way. FYI, the Hive will always be free. The Hive is my Facebook community where we share each other's successes and we share our challenges. I will be in and out of there. We will be actively engaging in there. And there's also today, I want to tell you about the 2 roles that I'm recruiting for on our team for you to come and be employed within IATQB. So the reason why I'm sharing with you these values is because if this resonates with you and you are in a position where you want to be a part of my team, there are 2 roles that you can apply for that might speak to you. And that is not for me to say, oh, I think you should be employed. These roles are for people that want to grow within the IATQB team as we do some pretty big things together. So the reason IATQB is here is we help people take up space to make positive change, right? Our values are, fucking love these. Honestly, they make me so happy. So kindness is our superpower. So, and that doesn't mean that we have no boundaries. And that doesn't mean that sometimes we have to say no. And sometimes that doesn't mean that, you know, we have to draw a line on something and say, actually, we can't engage with this. But kindness is our superpower. It is not our weakness. And just because we are kind does not mean that we are taken advantage of. So value number 1. 2, we all do well when we all do well. Do you need a magician? I always need a magician, Paulie. We all do well when we all do well. If you're doing well in your role, if you're doing well as a member of the IATQB community and you're sharing that, you are setting the bar for somebody else to see what is possible for them. We all do well when we all do well. If we are in the same industry, if you're a speaking coach, for example, like I want to hear from you. I don't want to be scared of you. I'm not scared, because I know that I'm really good at what I do within my space. And also, I can't serve 7.8 billion people. So I'm going to need some people who are really good at what they do for when I'm not the right peach for someone, I can forward them somewhere else, right? We all do well when we all do well. Next, we find the fun and bring the joy. Yes, we do. That goes without saying. We find the fun and we bring the joy. We fail forward. So often, in fact, this has just come up in my stories that actually today, 3 years ago was the Big Festoon. And the Big Festoon is something that I facilitated during lockdown to raise money for Women's Aid and for Gallup, which is the LGBTQ plus domestic abuse charity, and obviously Women's Aid, which is domestic abuse charity. We raised £20,000 whilst I did a live over the course of, it was 13 hours by the end of it. And I interviewed 24 celebrities, global successful entrepreneurs, charities, members of parliament, all over the course of 12 hours. And me and the team put this together over in conjunction with Chocolate PR and Joe Swan over with that team. We put that together and we raised £20,000 over the course of a day for these domestic abuse charities. And the week that happened was the fallout from the George Floyd situation. So the whole of that kind of Black Lives Matter movement was happening, that tsunami and that outpouring of righteous anger was happening at that point in time, that week. And I actively made sure, and I maintain that I actively made sure that the lineup was really inclusive, intentionally inclusive, so broad spectrum inclusive. And we made sure that we spoke to the topic all day, whilst not detracting from the fact that people were experiencing domestic abuse. 100% increase week on week for 8 weeks, an 800% increase in incidences reported of domestic abuse. And still, I found myself in a situation where I was having to apologize for not being inclusive enough. There was more that I could have done. And what we did then is really put our spike in the ground and said, everything that we do from now on is we're going to fail forward from. If we've got something wrong, we're going to acknowledge it. And feedback is the breakfast of champions, and we're hungry, and we can choose not to eat it as well. We can look at that plate of feedback that somebody's given us and go, do you know what, actually, we still think that we're okay, or no, you're dead right. And just always be open to failing forward and moving forward. So that's one of them. Creating safe spaces to have conversations that matter, right? This is what the show at Wise Up Rise Up show is all about. This is what Be Inspired is all about. My training spaces, that is what it is all about. Safe spaces to have conversations that matter. We deliver what we promise. And it's important that we deliver what we promise. And making sure that when we check in with ourselves, have we delivered what we promised? If we haven't, then go in and rectify that situation. And then finally, we are good people doing good things. And that is the mantra for the entire team and I. Whenever we're doing anything, whenever we're feeling like we're on the ropes a little bit, our team prayer is we are good people doing good things. We're going to maintain that we're good people doing good things. And that whatever happens, we're always going to come back to that. Every decision that we make as a business, every decision that I make as a business person, we'll come back to, am I doing this with the right intention? Am I a good person doing a good thing? And sometimes that might be perceived as not. That might not be received as it is intended. And sometimes that is just the case. And I just have to remember, as we all do, that what is the intention with which you're doing something? If it's with malintent or poor intent, then you need to reconsider your actions. If what you're doing is with the best intent for the greatest good, then you're a good person doing a good thing. You're just trying your best, right? And so this is the value set that me and the team sort of sat against, like, where are we hanging our hat here? So do these sound like your kind of values? Is this the kind of value set that you would want to be in terms of part of a community or even part of a team? There are 2 roles that we are recruiting against right now. I'm going to put the job specs up on our LinkedIn, the Queen Bee Danny LinkedIn. I think we're just getting them published on Indeed. We had to make some tweaks because we're quite flexible in terms of the job role. It didn't sit against some of that really rigid criteria in Indeed, which always says to me, like, that the employed space is very restrictive and there are changes to be made and conversations that we need to have about it, right? So the first is we are looking for an admin support role. So somebody who could support me, the team, and my EA, my executive assistant, Anna Fox, to ensure the smooth running from an admin perspective. The more we're growing, the more admin that there is, and we definitely now need some support with that. So that person is going to be open to learning all of our systems, ready and really organized from a meticulous point of view. I'm an ideas person of surrounding myself with details people on purpose so that we can achieve the things that we say that we're going to achieve. I'm good with a big idea. I'm good with driving results, but we've got to make sure that we've got the chess pieces going. So our support functions are massively important. So we have an admin assistant role. If that sounds like something you want to know more about, drop into my DMs and we can send you the job spec. The way that we're recruiting in against this is for you. I don't want anybody's CV. I don't care about your qualifications in terms of like how many GCSEs you've got. I'm not asked about that. I'm asked about how organized you are. I'm asked about how well you complete tasks. I'm asked about how fast you complete tasks, all of that sort of stuff. I'm here for you as a person. And the way that we're doing these applications is I just want to know why you think you'd be good for the job. Like, I want you to share with me, like, why should we have you on the team, right? This is a mutual situation. So I'm going to send you the job spec for those of you that are interested. You can have a look at that and then come back to us. And the second one, really exciting role, is a online community manager role who's going to help manage our engagement across all of the platforms that we've got. So through the Hive, the Queen Bee Danny page on Facebook or Instagram, working with our incredible comms manager, Beth Thompson, to make sure that we're engaging with people, that I'm getting all the right messages in the right places. Because the other thing that's been happening, the bigger things they've got, is that my DMs are a bin fire, an absolute bin fire, as are my emails. And it's really, really difficult, again, from a Spoon's point of view, from a bandwidth point of view, to get back to everyone with everything that they're asking me. Today, just this morning, I have had 10 people, no less than 10 people, get into my inbox asking me to watch things. Somebody sent me a link to something that is 40 minutes long and said, will you watch this and then tell me what you think about it? Or, you know, like there's lots of people asking lots of things of me. So I need somebody to be able to kind of sift through that and give me the things that I need to deal with to keep things moving. I'd love to do the online community role and work with you for sure. Serena, interested. Okay. So if you get in our DMs or email bookings at imthequeenbee.co.uk, we can send you on a copy of the job descriptions, and then you can kind of get in touch with us and we can go through the application process. So this is somebody who's going to have an active interest in social media, who knows how things like groups work, who know how to have tactful conversations, who know about inclusivity, who know and are willing to learn around all that sort of stuff to make sure that, you know, we're providing safe spaces, and also someone who's really creative. So I'm looking for somebody who's an ideas person, who can bounce ideas off, who gets IATQB, who understands what we're all about, who sits within that value set and could really bring something to this employed role. So it is an employed role with us and has massive scope for growth. Massive scope for growth. So you'll be working across our Instagram, our LinkedIn, our Hive, the Queen Bee Danny page on Facebook, and also in our new Patreon community. So very, very, very exciting roles that we are advertising for right now. So those job specs will be on LinkedIn a little bit later today. If you're not following me already on, it's at the Queen Bee Danny on LinkedIn. Make sure you're following us on Instagram. There's been so much that's happened. And ordinarily, I would, in the moment, post I would post about things as they're happening. And so, for example, yesterday I was at a tattoo convention. So some of you might have seen my post last night, that I've had this big tattoo done on my thigh. It's a bit wrapped up and a bit bloody at the minute. So I'm going to show you. I have a room, like I have a bit more room than I did previously. Can I show you? Let me get my thigh up. So I had this big, massive piece done on my thigh. I'll show you when it's all done. Posted a picture on my thing. I was at a tattoo convention with my incredible friend, Lou Nixon from Woodland Realm, and she's one of my regular tattoo artists. She's a really good friend. I've known her for years, and I love her work, and I'm, you know, covered in her work. I love it and I adore it. And her daughter, Star, is incredibly talented too, and it's just a joy to go and sit with them while I have these tattoos done. We went to a tattoo convention yesterday, and you know, we entered this piece for a competition, and even though we didn't win and Lou didn't win, the meaning behind the tattoo far outweighed any prize for me. Not that I would have won a prize, but it would have been nice for Lou to have walked away with a, you know, like best in show or, you know, best of the day or whatever. But actually what she did is she provided a piece of art that is so significant to me that I get to tell a story about it. It's a Wizard of Oz piece, and it says, you had the power all along, which is a message that I keep coming back to time and time and time and time again. And it didn't matter. Not that it didn't matter. I was there for it, and I wanted it to win so desperately. But I felt like I won yesterday, and I would have done a whole post about that. And I would have done a whole post about the fact that my friend Emma Sale launched a safe dating app last week, a safe and inclusive dating app for all different types of people called WeRx social app, right? For people who are polyamorous, people who are queer, people who are straight, people who are into all kinds of things, but this beautiful, educational, safe community where, you know, their theme is don't be a dick, you know, or don't be a knobhead's clause. I went to the launch of that of the app, this incredible app that's going to change the face of dating and how it's done online, because it's horrid. Who's into online dating, and how have you found it? Oh my God. No, thank you. But they've created this space that is really safe. It's going to change the way that dating happens. It's going to change the safety of stuff and the security of it. I think it's just incredibly wonderful. I went to the event and I went to support Ems and I had a lovely night. It was incredible. And I was treated like an absolute queen, and I didn't post about it. There's been so many events that I've been to over the past few weeks that I would have just loved to have broken down, but there was that many of them. I didn't know what to do with myself. I was just trying to be in the moment. And I think that with my father-in-law, my incredible father-in-law passing away just a few weeks ago, it's never quite felt appropriate to go, look at the wonderful time I'm having. Look at what it is that I'm doing. Then my face dropped. So for anybody who doesn't know, I've got Ramsay Hunt syndrome. And a few weeks ago, when I'm sort of teetering on burnout, it activates the virus that lives inside me, and I get like a Bell's palsy. And it took so long to rid myself of that. I just didn't want to go live, not because I was ashamed of how I looked, because it's happened before and I've gone live. It's more distracting for me. I was frustrated with myself, looking at myself, because you do when you're going live, streaming right now. I can see myself on StreamYard. It was distracting for me, and also it was like a bit of a kick in the dick for me, in that it's a visual representation of how little I've been looking after myself, a visual representation about how hard I've been working. And I don't want the output of the work that I'm doing to be me being poorly. That's not the outcome that I want. I want the output of me working as hard as I'm working, us reaching more people, having more conversations that matter, having more people engage with speaking, having more people take up space. That is the outcome that I want. Increasing our community, getting you lot working together, getting you lot collaborating together, getting you lot to see that we all do well, that we all do when we all do well, coming out to meet us at these incredible events. We're at Atomicon next week. Who's going to Atomicon? That's going to be incredible. We're at Expert Empires for the Underground event at the end of July. Who's coming along to that? Like, there are so many of these events, and it was really hard in the moment for me to kind of break down, oh, I've had this lovely time doing this lovely thing, and I've learned this thing and I've learned that thing, because I was so busy absorbing and so busy delivering. So I think just sometimes the pendulum just needs to swing where it swings. And without dropping into that famine situation, it was really actively getting that oxygen mask on me and on my family as well. So the kids have been really hyper aware that I've not been not around as much, but I've been doing a lot of traveling, and also breaking my back trying to get home for them, instead of going, do you know what, I'm gonna have to stay an extra night so I can get the sleep that I need, so that I can be switched on. So when I was getting home, I was tired and I was grotty and I was burnt out. So taking some time last week to just be on half term with the kids, to do up my room so that my bedroom's nice, to do those normal person things instead of working at 1,000,000 miles an hour. So yeah, it's been really interesting, I guess. The broad and the short of it is that it's been really interesting. It has been exciting, to look at all the things that we're creating, to see the needle moving, and to release the guilt around it not moving as fast as I would like it to. So I know a lot of you feel like this. You have these lofty plans and you're like, right, well, I want to go and I want it like next week. We'll achieve it all next week. Or we'll achieve it all in a month or 3 months. And you get towards the end of that 3 months, and actually you're having to move the goalposts for yourself, because the person you might have forgot in the middle of it all is yourself. So you've gone, oh yeah, we could do these big things. Of course we can. We'll do this big thing, then we'll do that big thing, then we'll do that big thing. Actually, the real big thing in the middle of it all is, how are you enjoying this? How are you feeling? Are you waking up in the morning and jumping out of bed? Are you doing the things that actually give you joy? The Show Up, Rise Up, Rise Up show gives me joy. It gives me joy when I allow myself to think about it. And what I'd done is, because I had more pressing things to think about, I wasn't thinking about this. And so I wasn't turning up like I would like to turn up. And when I don't turn up like I would like to turn up, I afford myself a little bit of guilt and a little bit of resentment, because if you're not getting the best of me, then why am I turning up? Like, what's the point? Like, I'm half-arsing it. I don't want to half-arse anything. I certainly don't want to half-arse this. I don't want to half-arse the Show Up, Rise Up, Rise Up show. I want my full arse involved in the Show Up, Rise Up, Rise Up show, which is exactly why we're moving it into Patreon, into a platform and into a membership format, so that we can give it the production value, give it the time that it deserves, instead of me just rolling out of bed or jumping off the school run and kind of trying to work out where I am. Treating this with the love and care that it deserves, because it is super powerful. For those of you that tune in regularly, have told me regularly how much this has been such a platform of, like, a bit of a port in the storm when things are being whipped up for you guys. I want that to be more structured. I want that to be better formatted. I want that to be even more valued than me just turning up. I don't want to half-arse anything. And that is my promise to you. So because I felt like I was half-arsing it, I was like, no, I'm going to stop. We're going to take a breather. We're going to work it out. We're going to see what's what. I'm going to make sure that my whole arse is going to my clients at the moment, because they're paying. There's an energetic exchange that is happening right there, and they deserve my whole arse. And you deserve my whole arse. I'm only going to turn up when my whole arse is involved. That is my promise to you, my angels. So I hope that's given you a little bit of an insight as to where we're at the minute. For those of you that have missed the show and hung on, I was absolutely petrified, I guess. Not petrified. Is petrified the right word? Scared? Not petrified. I was like, who wasn't keeping me up at night? But I'm like, if I step away from this or I change this in any way, then I'm going to alienate people, or they're going to drop away, or they're going to forget about me. I know how quick people forget about people, right? That's why I talk about consistency. That's why I talk about, going live in the IATKB community when we do the boot camp, when we do these things. I'm like, go live. People need to see you. They need to hear you speaking. They need to hear your journey, and so on and so forth. And I'm like, if I go quiet now, am I going to lose everybody? Like, it was a real fear. And the thing is, I think if you turn up consistently for 8 years and you take a couple of weeks off, no one's going anywhere for a bit yet. And I think that's exactly what it is. I've afforded myself a little bit of space, a little bit of a breather. But now it means that I can create an agenda. It means, and I mean an agenda in terms of an agenda of delivery. I can do some market research with you all. I can work out what it is that you want, and then actually provide it and take that time aside to provide it for you all, so that this becomes the safe space to have conversations that matter. That instead of watching the shit that is on the TV, that we can come here and decompress together, that we can come here and make sense of it all together, that we can be here and make some reality out of it. Like, actually, let's have a reality check here. What is important is the fact that, I'll use the latest headline as an example, is the fact that Philip Schofield had an unwise but legal relationship with somebody, when so many other people in the television industry is doing the same thing in lots of different ways, in lots more unsavory ways. Do we need to be focusing our attention, our lives, our one shot at this juicy space of awakening that we have? Do we need to be spending our time thinking about that? Or do we need to be spending time thinking about how do we have the best experience? Us, you, not what's happening out in the media, not what's happening out in that celebrity space, but for you, what is your plans for your one big juicy life, for your one big juicy experience here on this beautiful planet? And how do we have those conversations where we can decompress it and pick it apart a little bit, and maybe sit on the spike a little bit and be a bit divisive and be a bit, oh, but what about this? Why don't we do that? And that is what I want for the show at Wise Up Rise Up Show. So keep your fingers crossed that we do this, and we do it, somebody notices it and actually puts these kinds of conversations onto our telly boxes and onto our radios and through our media, instead of the absolute dross when we are watching through the lens of the media somebody else's life, when it's salaciousness. It is, what's the word? Sensationalism. We don't need to sensationalize anything. We need to get the lens on us. We need to be thinking about, how do we make good change in the world? How can we be good people doing good things? And why is that not the focus? Anyway, I love you. Thank you for being patient with me. I hope you're digging on our new surroundings. I certainly am. It's only going to get better. You are incredible, and you are wonderful, and you are important, and you are necessary. I am so excited to bring the next few weeks to you as I share with you a little bit more about what our Patreon community is going to be all about and how you can get involved in it. I'm very excited for all the things that is to come. Thank you for being patient with me while I've taken a little bit of a breather. It's been absolutely necessary so that I can bring you my whole arse. Have a wonderful, wonderful Monday. I will see you on Wednesday for more showing up, wising up, and rising up. I'll see you then. Tra.